Welcome to Daily Home Bible Readings for Tuesday, November 1st, 2022. From our Sunday School lesson, ages 25 and older and ages 18 to 24. I do not own the rights to this music. Today's topic is a stirred up mob, and it's coming out of Acts chapter 21, verses 27 through 36. I will read both the King James Version and the Amplified Version. And when the 7 days were almost ended, the Jews which were of Asia, when they saw him in the temple, stirred up all the people and laid hands on him, crying out, Men of Israel, help! This is the man that teacheth all men everywhere against the people, and the law, and this place. And further brought Greeks also into the temple, and have polluted this holy place. For they had seen before with him in the city Trophimus, an Ephesian, whom they supposed that Paul had brought into the temple. And all the city was moved, and the people ran together. And they took Paul and drew him out of the temple, and forthwith the doors were shut. And as they went about to kill him, tidings came unto the chief captain of the band that all Jerusalem was in an uproar, who immediately took soldiers and centurions and ran down unto them. And when they saw the chief captain and the soldiers, they left beating of Paul. Then the chief captain came near and took him and commanded him to be bound with 2 chains, and demanded who he was and what he had done. And some cried one thing, some another, among the multitude. And when he could not know the certainty for the tumult, he commanded him to be carried into the castle. And when he came upon the stairs, so it was that he was borne of the soldiers for the violence of the people. For the multitude of the people followed after, crying, Away with him. The Amplified Version. Paul seized in the temple. When the 7 days required to complete the ritual were almost over, some Jews from the province of Asia Minor caught sight of him in the temple and began to stir up the crowd, and they seized him, shouting, Men of Israel, help us! This is the man who teaches all men everywhere against our people and the law, and this place. And besides, he has brought Greeks into the temple and has defiled this holy place. For they had previously seen Trophimus the Ephesian in the city with Paul, and they assumed that he had brought the man into the temple beyond the court of the Gentiles. Then the whole city was provoked and confused, and the people rushed together. They seized Paul and dragged him out of the temple, and immediately the gates were closed. Now while they were trying to kill him, word came to the commander of the Roman garrison that all Jerusalem was in a state of upheaval. So he immediately took soldiers and centurions and ran down among them. When the people saw the commander and the soldiers, they stopped beating Paul. Then the commander came up and arrested Paul and ordered that he be bound with 2 chains. Then he asked who he was and what he had done. But some in the crowd were shouting one thing and others something else. And since he could not determine the facts because of the uproar, he ordered that Paul be taken to the barracks in the tower of Antonia. When Paul got to the steps, he was carried by the soldiers because of the violence of the mob. For the majority of the people kept following them, shouting, Away with him! Kill him! The end. God bless you, and thank you for joining me today.